Stay until the end, if you dare. If your Airbnb has one extra room, leave. Don't ask the host about it. Don't try to open it. And whatever you do, don't sleep there. I booked the cabin because I wanted silence. 3 nights, no neighbors, no phone calls, no city. Just a weekend alone in the mountains. The listing looked perfect. 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a fireplace, a beautiful view of the forest. Nothing unusual. When I arrived, everything matched the photos exactly. The host had left a handwritten note on the kitchen counter. Make yourself at home. Nothing else. I unpacked my bags, explored the cabin, and counted the rooms. 1, 2, 3. Exactly like the listing. That night I made dinner, watched the rain through the windows, and went to bed. I woke up, not because of a sound, because the house felt different. The hallway outside my bedroom seemed longer. I told myself it was the darkness playing tricks on me. I walked toward the kitchen. Halfway down the hall, I stopped. There was another door, dark gray, old wood, a brass handle. I stared at it for several seconds. I was certain it hadn't been there before. I turned on every light. The door disappeared. The hallway looked normal again. I laughed at myself. Too much driving, not enough sleep, that had to be it. The next morning, I opened the rental listing on my phone. 3 bedrooms. I walked through the cabin again. 3 bedrooms, no 4th door. I almost convinced myself I'd imagined the whole thing. Until the second night. I woke up again. This time I didn't leave the bed immediately. I looked toward the hallway. The 4th door was back. I grabbed my phone and walked toward it. The closer I got, the colder the hallway became. I reached for the handle. Locked. I took a picture. When I checked my phone, the hallway was empty. No extra door, no evidence. I barely slept. The next morning I called the host. I think there's something wrong with the hallway. There was a long silence. What do you mean? There's another room. Another pause. Then he laughed. That cabin has 3 bedrooms. It's always had 3. I'm serious. So am I. He hung up. Something about his voice bothered me. He hadn't sounded confused. He'd sounded nervous. That afternoon I drove into the nearest town. There wasn't much there. A gas station, a diner, a tiny grocery store. While paying for coffee, I mentioned the cabin. The cashier froze. You're staying there? Yeah. She looked toward the window before answering. Don't stay another night. I asked why. She shook her head. My grandfather built that place. People don't stay long. Before I could ask another question, another customer walked in. The conversation ended. I drove back with a strange feeling growing in my stomach. That evening, I noticed something else. The family photographs hanging on the walls. I was sure there had only been 3. Now there were 4. The new photos showed the cabin decades earlier. A family standing on the porch. Mother, father, 2 children, and 1 man standing behind them, smiling. I didn't recognize him, but his face felt familiar. That night, the 4th door appeared again. This time, it was slightly open, just enough for darkness to spill into the hallway. I should have stayed in my room. Instead, I pushed it open. The room was empty, almost. There was only one object inside, my suitcase, the exact suitcase I'd unpacked earlier that day. I rushed back to my bedroom. My suitcase was gone. Every piece of clothing, gone. I returned to the room. The suitcase was still there, folded perfectly, as if someone had packed it for me. I slammed the door shut. The next morning, the room had disappeared again. I packed my car. I was leaving. As I pulled away from the cabin, the GPS froze. The road ahead looked unfamiliar. After 20 minutes, I arrived back at the cabin. I hadn't turned around. I tried again. Same result. Every road led back. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the living room watching the hallway. The 4th door appeared. This time, wide open. Inside was my apartment, not a copy. My actual apartment, the coffee mug I had left in the sink before the trip, my shoes by the front door, my jacket hanging on the chair, everything exactly as I remembered it. I stepped inside. The room smelled like home. For one impossible moment, I believed I had escaped. Then I heard breathing, coming from my bedroom. I walked slowly toward the door. It was slightly open. I pushed it wider. Someone was asleep in my bed, facing away from me, wearing my clothes. I whispered, "Hello?" The figure sat up, slowly, without making a sound, then turned toward me. It was me, exactly me. Same face, same scar on my chin, same terrified expression. He looked directly into my eyes and smiled. Not a normal smile, too wide, too still. 0. He raised one finger, pointing behind me. I turned. The fourth door was gone. So was the apartment. I was back inside the empty room in the cabin. The walls were bare. The air was freezing. The only thing left was a small photograph lying on the floor. I picked it up. It showed the family standing outside the cabin. Mother, father, 2 children, the smiling man, and me, standing beside them, as if I had always been there. The next morning, the cleaning crew arrived because checkout time had passed. They found my car parked outside, my phone on the kitchen table, my wallet, my keys, everything, except me. The owner later updated the listing. It still says the cabin has 3 bedrooms. Every guest who stays there agrees. 3 bedrooms, until exactly when someone notices. The fourth door